Although the popular belief that eggs are the best source of protein in the diet is partly true, there is a lesser-known food that not only has more protein per gram than eggs, but also initiates a unique set of biological processes that help protect your muscles from sarcopenia, a condition where they deteriorate with age. And here's what may surprise you: you don't begin losing muscle mass in your 70s. Research shows it starts in your 30s, and by the time most people reach 60, they've lost 15 to 20% of their muscle mass without even realizing it. But here's the good news. Your muscles are always responsive to your movements, diet, and even sleep patterns. And some foods deliver a stronger anabolic or muscle-building signal to your body and brain than others. I'll soon tell you about one of the most powerful foods, a food that's often overlooked, yet contains more protein per gram than eggs, more leucine for muscle synthesis, and a faster absorption rate, and more importantly, how to use it effectively. Why does this matter now? Muscle is the body's most metabolically active tissue, so it's not just about strength or appearance. It protects your joints and bones, regulates insulin sensitivity, and most importantly, deeply influences your brain. There's a strong link between muscle mass and cognitive health. Studies show that older adults who maintain more muscle mass have better cognition, reduced risk of dementia, and improved emotional regulation.
Why?
Because muscle is a reservoir for hormones. Myokines are tiny proteins released during physical activity that interact with the brain, reduce inflammation, and boost neuroplasticity. So even if you're not eating more, sarcopenia may still be progressing silently if you feel weaker, more tired, or notice weight gain. But instead of turning to complex supplements or 6-day workouts, we can intervene with science-backed nutrition and targeted movement. In this session, we'll explore 6 breakthrough findings from nutrition physiology and neuroscience. Through simple behavioral changes and natural food strategies, each one gives you a tool to slow or even reverse muscle loss. Here's what you'll learn: the best timing for maximum anabolic impact and the one food with more usable protein than eggs, how to reset your brain's sense of fullness, which may be sabotaging your muscle retention, how to activate mTOR, the master switch for muscle growth, through specific amino acids, the link between sleep and muscle, and how evening meals impact overnight muscle breakdown, why most people overestimate their protein intake and underconsume it, and a simple visual cue to fix it. And finally, a 3-step daily plan backed by peer-reviewed research to begin fighting sarcopenia today. Understanding the science behind food and muscle is the first step. If you're ready to feel stronger, protect your brain, and extend your life, let's begin. Have you ever compared 100 g of cottage cheese to 100 g of eggs? You might be surprised. When it comes to usable protein and anabolic potential, cottage cheese not only competes with eggs, it surpasses them. Studies show that compared to eggs or salmon, whole dairy foods like cottage cheese significantly and consistently improved muscle strength and mass in people over 50. A single large egg has about 0.5 grams of leucine, but 100 g of cottage cheese contains roughly 11 g of protein and 1.3 g of leucine. Leucine is the critical amino acid that switches on muscle growth. Why does that matter? Your muscle's growth response is driven by total protein and leucine content. Aging muscles experience anabolic resistance. They need more stimulus to grow. That's why experts suggest older adults aim for 25 to 30 g of protein and 3 g of leucine at each meal to promote muscle synthesis. Cottage cheese is one of the best whole food sources to meet this goal, delivering 1.3 g of leucine per serving and plenty of complete protein. Cottage cheese is also rich in casein, a slow-digesting milk protein that acts like a time-release capsule. While fast-absorbing proteins like whey deliver nutrients quickly, casein provides a steady stream of amino acids for 3 to 4 hours. That slow drip is vital overnight when fasting can otherwise lower your blood amino acid levels. In one 2011 study, older adults who consumed casein 70 minutes before bed achieved a better whole-body protein balance overnight compared to a placebo. Similarly, young men who consumed 40 g of casein 30 minutes before bed saw improved muscle protein synthesis and overnight absorption. You can achieve these results without powders. Just eat whole food sources like cottage cheese. Think of eggs as a spark in your metabolic fire, quick and hot, whereas cottage cheese is a slow-burning log. Your muscles get a longer-lasting source of fuel. One easy method: eat 150 g of low-fat cottage cheese, about 2 to 3 cups, for a pre-dinner protein boost or evening snack. That delivers around 16 g of protein and 2 g of leucine. To target 25 to 28 g of protein and 3 g leucine, eat 200 to 250 g. This is especially useful for older adults or anyone facing anabolic resistance. You're covering two critical goals: a high-quality complete protein and enough leucine to activate the mTOR growth pathway. Ever felt extremely hungry at night and woke up feeling weak? Maybe it wasn't your stomach, but your muscles calling. Choosing cottage cheese before bed isn't just snacking, it's prepping your muscles for overnight repair. With one intentional choice, your body shifts from breakdown to rebuilding. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing. This is just one example of how to improve performance and longevity. Think of your muscle cells as a factory producing crown jewels, but that factory doesn't run on raw materials alone. It needs a master switch. mTOR is a protein kinase that governs protein synthesis, cell growth, and recovery, a command center. This is where leucine comes in, politely but powerfully. Leucine is unique among amino acids. Once in your bloodstream, it binds to receptors and signals mTOR to activate. This stimulates muscle protein synthesis by switching on mTORC1 inside your muscle cells. Why do aging muscles need a stronger signal? Because of anabolic resistance, older muscles become less responsive to standard stimuli. It's like the factory still works, but it's understaffed. You need a louder, clearer, more urgent message. This is where the leucine trigger theory comes in. It proposes that to fully activate mTOR in older adults, you need a sharp rise in leucine, around 3 g per meal. Research shows that 2.8 to 3 g of leucine in 25 to 30 g of high-quality protein per meal maximizes muscle protein synthesis in aging bodies. A simple approach to follow. First, engage in deliberate movement 3 to 5 times per week. Spend 20 to 30 minutes doing resistance-based exercises. These can include squats, push-ups, bodyweight moves, or resistance bands. Aim for moderate exertion, just enough to release myokines and mildly fatigue muscles. Second, protein timing. Within 30 to 60 minutes post-exercise, consume 25 to 30 g of high-quality protein, ideally with 3 g of leucine. Try fish, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or lean meat. Why timing matters. Muscle contraction increases blood flow and opens a nutrition window. Protein consumed during this time ensures amino acids aren't just present, they're actively used for rebuilding and signaling. Step 3 is to reflect and empower. Assess your mental state post-meal. Calmer, sharper, more focused? That's the brain-muscle signal in action. Studies show that in a 12-week resistance training program, improved neurochemical markers in older adults were linked to gains in strength. Another review confirms that exercise-induced cognitive improvements are mediated by myokines like BDNF and IGF-1. Simply put, moving muscles releases hormones that protect and grow the brain. Post-workout protein ensures those signals become tangible gains, mentally and physically. Here's a simple task. Plan a 25-minute bodyweight workout tomorrow. Do squats, push-ups, and band rows. Afterward, eat a protein-rich meal like grilled chicken or a yogurt-leucine combo. Notice how your mood, energy, and mental focus shift. If that boost feels good, consider subscribing. Next, we'll dive into the connection between nutrition and sleep in preserving muscle. This is powerful. It's not just about food or exercise, it's about aligning a neurological multiplier. You're enhancing brain function and sculpting your body. Every rep and bite aligned with intention, backed by science. What if I told you that every restless, stressful night could undo the muscle you worked hard to build? If left unaddressed, your body might sap your strength while you sleep. This section explains how cortisol spikes and poor nighttime nutrition contribute to muscle breakdown, and how to stop it. What's happening inside your body and mind? Sleep isn't just rest, it's a strategic metabolic reset. Most repair and growth occurs during slow-wave sleep. But when sleep is disrupted or inadequate, this balance is thrown off. Studies show that just one night of poor or restricted sleep can reduce testosterone by 24%, raise cortisol by 21%, and cut muscle protein synthesis by nearly 20%. That leads to faster muscle loss and a greater risk of sarcopenia. Cortisol is catabolic. It tells your body to break down tissue for fuel. Muscle becomes collateral damage during high-stress nights or sleep disturbances. The good news, Slow-digesting proteins can counteract this. By eating the right food before bed, you can prevent overnight muscle loss. Research consistently shows that consuming 30 to 40 grams of casein protein before bed supports healthy overnight digestion and absorption. It results in a 22% increase in overnight protein synthesis compared to a placebo and promotes a favorable overnight protein balance throughout the body. A systematic review found that 40 grams of pre-bed casein following evening exercise helped preserve and build muscle mass overnight in both younger and older adults. Think of your muscles as a bank account. Exercise and food are daily deposits, while cortisol acts like an automatic withdrawal at night, especially when sleep is lacking. Eating casein before bed is like setting up an automatic deposit to counter those nighttime withdrawals and maintain your balance. This is a simple tool. 30 to 60 minutes before sleep, have a nighttime casein reset, about 40 grams of protein, like 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt or low-fat cottage cheese, with a small handful of almonds for added benefit. If you work out in the evening, combine this with your post-exercise protein intake during the same window. On rest days, the pre-sleep snack continues supporting protein synthesis and helps fight the catabolic effect of cortisol. According to one study, participants who consumed about 45 grams of casein before bed after an evening resistance session reported less soreness and quicker recovery than those who had a placebo. In a 12-week controlled trial, those who took 27 to 40 grams of casein before bed experienced greater strength and muscle growth than those given a placebo. Studies also link reduced muscle mass and increased cortisol to poor sleep quality. Have you ever noticed feeling weaker or craving sugar after a restless night, even with the same total sleep duration? That's your muscles feeling the effects of cortisol chasing fast energy. Implementing a nighttime casein reset not only fights that effect but also actively preserves your strength and metabolic resilience for the day ahead. Pay attention to how you feel: improved grip, less fatigue, possibly sharper focus. That's your brain benefiting from reduced cortisol spikes and your muscles responding. If this helps your understanding, hit subscribe. Now we'll conclude with a 3-step daily routine that puts all this into practice. Even in sleep, you're moving from passive to purpose-driven muscle gains. You've learned the science. Now it's time to build it into your day. No gym membership needed. This practical, evidence-based protocol combines movement, nutrition insight, and neurological timing. Step 1. Anchor your morning and midday meals with protein timing. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein and 3 grams of leucine per meal. For example, whole grain toast topped with smoked salmon and cottage cheese, or a Greek yogurt parfait with berries. This follows research showing that people over 50 who get 25 grams of protein 3 times daily maintain muscle mass more effectively. Add snacks in the evening and before bed. Get 25 to 30 grams of protein and 3 grams of leucine within 30 minutes of a workout. Then, take your evening casein reset, around 40 grams of casein from cottage cheese or enriched Greek yogurt, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. A major review showed that hitting the leucine trigger consistently led to better MPS, especially after workouts. In contrast, low leucine meals gave weak signals, enough to nudge the factory, but not enough to power up growth. Think of your muscles like an orchestra. Protein is the instrument, but leucine is the conductor and spotlight. Without that trigger, the orchestra just waits. The rule is simple. Eat 25 to 30 g of high-quality protein per meal. Ensure it contains 2.5 to 3 g of leucine, about 100 g of lean meat, 200 g of cottage cheese, or a palm-sized portion. If your meals fall short, add 0.5 to 1 g of leucine. Use a visual layout to plan meals as a behavioral hack. Lunch is 2 breakfasts, 3 eggs, 1.5 g leucine, plus Greek yogurt equals 3 grams total. Lean beef, turkey, chicken, or fish, 120 g yields 3 grams of leucine. For dinner, repeat lunch or add vegetables and cottage cheese. Ever hit the gym and feel like your muscles just don't respond anymore? What if it's not the workout, it's the signal your body receives? Research shows that older adults who consumed leucine-enriched protein supplements, with 3 g leucine and about 20 g protein, had greater muscle protein synthesis after exercise compared to those using regular protein. Even protein-rich meals fell short if they didn't meet the leucine threshold. A detailed review revealed that even a low-protein diet can trigger maximum MPS with a small amount of leucine, around 3 g. In short, your best tool is smart, targeted leucine. We'll show you how to realign your satiety so you don't feel full before your muscles do their job. So if this information helps, consider subscribing. Here's the empowering insight. To maximize muscle, you don't need a massive meal or a costly supplement stack. Hitting the leucine trigger 3 times daily with just 3 simple grams is usually enough. Choose foods rich in leucine and shop intentionally. Tonight, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean poultry, or even a quick leucine supplement if needed. Sending a clear signal to your muscles and brain can mean the difference between maintenance and real strength gains. Even after a balanced meal, your muscles may still be hungry. This is because, especially with aging, satiety, the feeling of fullness, is not aligned with muscle regeneration. Let's break it down. What's going on in your brain when this happens? Hormones like cholecystokinin and leptin, which tell your brain when to stop eating, play a big role in satiety. But they're more aligned with meal size and fat storage than muscle development. As we age, the signal threshold in the brain shifts. You feel full earlier, even if your muscles haven't received the necessary building blocks. At the same time, anabolic resistance raises the amount of protein and intensity of signals required for muscle growth. Yet, satiety hormones may be triggered before that threshold is met. Your internal hungry enough meter is basically misaligned with what your muscles need. Here's what research shows. Muscles in older adults are consistently undernourished because the feeling of fullness is triggered at lower levels of dietary protein, even when total calorie intake is sufficient. This mismatch leads to gradual muscle loss over time. Imagine using one hose to fill 2 buckets. The smaller one gets filled first, so the water stops flowing. The second bucket remains dry. The first is your brain. The second is your muscle protein synthesis. The protein pause technique is a simple solution. After a meal, pause and ask, did I also meet my muscles' protein goal? If not, add a protein mini-plate, like a small portion of cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or lean meat. If your meal lacked 25 to 30 g of protein and around 3 g of leucine, this extra plate bridges the gap. For example, a lunch with salad, 1 egg, and sliced avocado might deliver only 12 to 15 g of protein, enough for satiety, but not for muscle building. Add 100 g of Greek yogurt, 10 g, 50 g of almonds, and 8 g from fish and vegetables. A typical dinner may offer around 20 g of protein. Pause and add 50 g of cottage cheese to get an extra 6 to 8 g. A habit-forming mental technique. After eating, consider whether you're truly satisfied or just distracted by the act of eating. This reduces mindless eating and helps you reflect, adjust, and align with muscle needs. Without this awareness, you may be feeding for comfort but starving your muscles. Over time, this leads to weaker joints, less stable movement, higher stress, and even cognitive decline, because muscle tissue contributes to mental clarity via myokine release. Here's the good news. You can fix this immediately. You're not starting over, just recalibrating your inner sensors and adjusting meals to meet muscle needs. Have you ever eaten enough but still felt sluggish halfway through the day? Try the protein pause technique this week. Hit subscribe if this insight resonates. Next, we'll connect nutrition and movement to generate a neurological multiplier. You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. But what if food and movement combined produce something even more powerful? Muscles aren't just for strength or appearance. They serve as biological signal hubs that talk directly to your brain. As they contract, they release small signaling molecules called myokines, like BDNF, IGF-1, IL-6, irisin, and cathepsin B. These enter your bloodstream when you lift, squat, or walk briskly, travel to your brain, and trigger a cascade of neurological benefits: increased neuroplasticity, better mood, improved memory, and sharper cognition. One review found that myokine signaling pathways with neuroprotective roles change the way brain and muscle communicate. Another study showed that resistance training causes myokine release, which regulates both brain and muscle metabolism, improving cognitive performance. Think of your body as a two-way radio system. Your brain receives updates from your muscles during movement, boosting emotional control, attention, and resilience. When timed with protein intake, this signal transmission becomes more powerful. Protein provides the building blocks. Muscle contraction activates the signal. Together, they amplify both neurological and physical benefits. Step 2. Neuromuscular activation. You don't need weights. Movement alone is enough. Your daily template: 10-minute morning neuromuscular primer. Pick a circuit including 2 to 3 sets of plank holds, push-ups, calf raises, hip bridges, and squats. No equipment needed. This jumpstarts myokine signaling, activates muscle fibers, and gets your system ready. Resistance burst: 20-minute bodyweight or band-based push-pull squat circuit in the afternoon or evening. Use band rows, chair dips, and split squats. Do 10 to 15 reps per set, just enough to create mild fatigue, stimulate myokine release, and enhance protein absorption. This twice-daily movement sparks a neurological muscular dialogue that prepares your body for meals and the pre-bed casein strategy. Step 3. Reflect and adjust. Track your day. After each meal, pause and ask, did I get 25 to 30 grams of protein? If not, add a small plate to supplement. Reflect on movement. After your morning primer, assess whether your muscles feel activated and your mind feels clearer. Morning check-in. Rate your energy, mood, soreness, and sleep. Adjust the level of activity or your casein snack if recovery feels incomplete. This loop is driven by feedback, not perfection. You're tuning in and adapting daily to your body's response. Keep brief notes or journal it. This approach works by filling gaps in muscle-building stimulus, using spaced protein triggers to create frequent anabolic windows. Myokines released through neuromuscular activation prepare the body and brain, and timed casein resets guard against catabolism and cortisol during sleep. Peer-reviewed studies show that similar protocols have reversed sarcopenia markers and improved lean mass, strength, and metabolic health within just 3 months. Your brain and muscles are built to respond. They don't demand perfection, only consistency. Here's your action plan. Start tomorrow with a high-protein breakfast and morning circuit, hit your lunchtime protein goal, do an evening workout, and take your post-exercise protein. Snack on casein before bed. Check in with yourself by Friday. Do you feel stronger, clearer, recovering faster? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this framework resonates, like, share, and subscribe. We're building a community that applies science to enhance both body and mind. We often talk about aging as a slow decline of vitality, strength, and energy. But your body is always listening, and how you feed it, move it, and time your habits determines what it becomes. Here's what we've learned. Cottage cheese, often overlooked, has more leucine and usable protein per gram than eggs. Its casein content supports overnight muscle recovery. Leucine isn't just another amino acid, it's the trigger for mTOR, the muscle-building signal. Without hitting the leucine threshold, muscles don't get the growth signal. Age-related shifts in satiety can mislead us into thinking we're eating enough, while muscles remain undernourished. The protein pause, stop and consider, makes up for this. Muscles talk to the brain. Every contraction sends myokines that boost mood, focus, and plasticity. That's why protein and movement multiply each other's power, not just for strength but also for cognition. Sleep matters just as much as workouts. Cortisol drains muscle overnight if unchecked. Cottage cheese offers a simple way to protect and recover before bed. And finally, the daily protocol. No extreme diets, no gym, no supplements, just 3 actions. Activate your neuromuscular system, anchor your protein intake, and take daily inventory. Now you have a map rooted in science. It's not just about preventing sarcopenia, it's about regaining strength, vitality, and clarity as you age. But knowledge is only power when applied. So here's your challenge. Follow this routine for just 3 days. Track how you feel. Do you sleep better? Think more clearly? Feel stronger climbing stairs? That's not coincidence. That's your biology responding to precision. You're not too old. It's not too late. Muscle is adaptable. It changes when given purpose. And if this gave you clarity, purpose, or a practical tool, please like, comment, and subscribe. Not only does it support this channel, it tells the algorithm this content matters, helping others discover what you just did. Together, we're building a space where behavioral science, nutrition, and neuroscience work together to empower, not just inform. Thank you for being here. You're no longer chasing strength, you're holding it.